Bring in Abdul Azim Ahmed. He is the Deputy Director at the Center for the Study of Islam at Cardiff University. Joins us now here on the NewsHour. Thank you very much for joining us. You know what? I was pleasantly surprised to read that Islam doesn't permit practices that would put human life in danger. So put this into context for us. Does this mean that this decision's route or this call by many imams across the Islamic world is rooted in the Quran and not just sort of religious and community leaders concerned for public safety?
Well, in many cases, the two go together. So there is a very strong precedent of public good, of public well-being, being one of the key priorities of the Sharia and the teachings of the Quran. And theological scholars, imams, the ulama, they really utilize this idea in calling for mosques to be closed down, because that is a very difficult thing for many congregants to accept, especially in times of crisis. They look into the mosques, they look into places of prayer for solitude, for comfort. And so closing mosques has been challenging, but we are seeing globally across the world, in places like Europe and Britain and elsewhere where the virus has been in more advanced stages, that they're taking leadership and closing down mosques and congregational prayers in order to prevent the spread.
But this decision to suspend prayers, it's actually not universal. It may be the case in Western Europe and maybe across the Middle East, but sort of if you go further east, Indonesia, the world's most populous Muslim country, there isn't a specific ruling there. Just the other day, I think our program editor can bring up some pictures. We saw nearly 25,000 Bangladeshis gather all together praying for a cure for the coronavirus. So it can be different in other parts of the world.
Absolutely, and this is one of the biggest challenges. You know, it's the distance between the scholarship and scholars who are calling for closing and suspension of prayers and a minimizing of any religious gatherings, but then also the desires of individuals, of congregants, of individual Muslims to gather and to find solace and support in those kind of gatherings in times of crisis. And this is really going to be, I think, the biggest challenge in coming months, is trying to convince the wider population of the importance of social distancing, of social isolation, especially for those who are elderly and unwell, who are at the greatest risk from the virus.
I have about 30 seconds left for you, so if I could just ask you to be brief. Do you think there's a difference in sort of the attitude of Muslim worshippers around the world, whether they are in Western Europe or sort of in different parts of the world, when they are supposed to fulfill their religious duties but also have great concerns like this?
I wouldn't think it's a distinction based on geography. I think it's based on other aspects. I think there is more of a generational divide. I think those who are younger perhaps feel more concerned, whereas those who are older are feeling that this is simply something they have to power through and they've seen other crises. So I think it's a generational divide more than anything else. But I think time will also reveal and tell about where those differences come.
All right, Abdul Azim Ahmed, the Director or Deputy Director at the Center for Study of Islam. Thank you very much for joining us here on the NewsHour. I do appreciate it.